Thank you all for being here today and welcome to our fall service learning symposium. We're really excited to see so many people here on Zoom. We have the pleasure today of hearing from all the students, some community partners who are joining us, and some of our faculty. So welcome and thank you for being here. Our theme this semester for our symposium is Grounded in Community. My name is Daniela, and I'm a senior psychology major with a minor in community action and social change. I'm also an Edge Fellow, and I will be the moderator for today's event. So we're going to get the chance to hear from a lot of different students about their community partner experiences. We also have some community partners here with us, so we'll get to hear from them as well. But we're going to go ahead and get started. And to kick things off, we're going to start with the AB60 driver's license project. That is a collaborative effort made possible by the Public Defender's Office here in Marin County, Canal Alliance's Immigration and Legal Services team, Legal Aid of Marin, and of course our school. So I will go ahead and pass it on to Dr. Lucia Leon, and she will introduce us about what AB60 is and tell us a little bit more about the project.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. I was about to say good morning, but it is afternoon despite the gloomy weather. I'm going to try my best to screen share with you all. Hopefully this works. Okay. Hopefully you all can see the slides, and it's really just to bring us into the space with some photos so that for those of you that were not a part of the AB60 project, you can see a little bit of what it looked like for us this semester. So I'm here to tell you a little bit about AB60. For those of you unfamiliar, AB60 is a California law that allows undocumented immigrants access to driver's licenses. Driver's licenses and this extension of this right for immigrants plays a pivotal role in their everyday life with their family, their work, their social life, and it also can help them avoid some difficulties with the law and potentially some hurdles down the line when they start their immigration process. And so this collaboration, as Daniela shared, is multi-agency, and really folks were helping from these different agencies, were helping people go through the process of obtaining their license, and we're really helping them with some of the barriers that came up in their own silos and their own organizations. And through this work, we've learned of each other, we've heard of each other. And so we've started to work together. And so this project is the result of that partnership, of that co-building, that co-collaboration. And so, it launched officially. The first workshop was in June over the summer, and we had some service learning students join us for that launch with our community partners. And we had over 100 community folks come from the Canal neighborhood to seek support. And at these workshops, what happens is that they are able to meet with us. We gather their information to help them through the process. They have an immigration screening. They meet with the Public Defender's Office, who's here with us today, a member of their organization is here to speak with us today. And then they also then meet with different advocates to, get an email started, start a DMV account, schedule their DMV appointments. And then they were able to sign up with us if they wanted to work with a student promotor that was going to help them advocate for their process. And so they're doing anything from helping them with making appointments to helping them study to answering questions to practicing with them. Really any hurdle that they're facing to obtain their license, our students were there to support them through it. And so what that collaboration looks like for service learning and through the semester this fall was another launch, another workshop, this time in Bolinas, still in Marin, though about an hour from our campus, a very memorable drive for our students. And so we were out there, we had another workshop where we did sort of everything all over again that you just saw or that I just told you about in Canal. And then from there on Tuesday evenings and on Saturday middays, we were having what we call espacios de apoyo, spaces of support, where community members came through, new ones came and did that whole process with us again. And those that we had already met and were coming to get support with students, met with students one-on-one and talked to them about where they were at in their process. They took study tests, they practiced different road sign tests, all sorts of things to help them really with the development of their process to getting their license. And so these are just some photos to show you what that collaboration looks like, what the student space looks like. the espacios really became a place where we had community members come in every week. They had their regular folks that they were already working with our students. Our students got to interact with our community partners. And overall, through the semester, we got to hear community members, some who had failed their tests multiple times, really getting positive results, and some of them are attaining their license now. And it's been a really incredible project working with our collaborators, and I'm really excited to have Daniela share with you a little bit about her student perspective, and have Karen Brard talk to you a little bit about what it's like on our community partner side. And this is also an open invitation. We will have this community partner again next semester, and it'll look very similar. We'll have a workshop in February, and then the rest of the semester will be these espacios de apoyo. This is a space where we're still learning. It's really a labor of love, a pilot that all of our students have helped us grow. And I'm just incredibly grateful to other students in the room here, our Latino Studies minor students in the partnership, and our citizenship and immigration students that were a part of this. Thank you very much. Thank you, Daniela and Karen, for talking to us a little bit about your experience. So I'll pass the baton to Daniela.
Thank you so much, Doctora Leon. I remember before I started, I didn't even know what AB60 was, so I'm glad that we got to share with everyone, especially for those who may not have been familiar with it. But just as Dr. Leon said, I had the opportunity of working with AB60 this semester. I actually started in the summer. I was part of that first workshop that we did in June at Canal Alliance. I remember her telling us they were hoping for at least 15 people to show up, and we had so much more. And Dr. Leon and I were sitting at the very last table where we get to ask every community member if they wanted to work with a student, and pretty much everyone said yes. So we realized right then and there like how important this was for the people who came, because mainly it was the Canal area, but there was even people driving like from Novato and a little farther just because they really wanted to hear about this resource. And so from the student perspective, just as she said, we had espacios de apoyo. So we had community members come and they came to work with us, which was really nice because we got to work with them more sort of at an individual level and kind of spend more time working with each person. We did a lot of studying, so practicing for like those exams, the permit tests, the one that you take at the DMV, which is that knowledge test before you can actually start driving. A lot of students practice with that. We help them set up DMV accounts, make the appointments, understand like all the information that there is, what documents you need to bring once you have your appointment. And another part that we realized was that we're having people come in and they were sharing these experiences of maybe someone who took the test like 8 or 9 times and they still weren't passing, someone who had a very horrible experience of even getting their ID taken away, or the trouble that they're having over there because there's not always Spanish interpretation at the DMV. And so even though we have AB60 as a law in California, there were still so many challenges present, so many barriers, because not everyone has an easy time accessing all the steps to go through and obtain your license. And so while working with them, we realized this is something that is really, really important. And I think thinking about us, for most of us, we probably think of having a license and we kind of take it for granted. It's very easy. In California, you 16 years old and you get your driver's license. So we don't even think twice about it because it's very linear. But for a lot of the community members, Spanish is their first language or an indigenous language. They have different literacy levels. So maybe difficulty with reading or writing. And as we know, the permit test, part of that is having to take the exam and you read the questions. And then typically they offer it on the computer. So if someone comes in and they're not as comfortable with using technology, then that's just another barrier that's there. And so really for the espacios de apoyo, it was about sitting down with people and just taking the time so that they feel more confident. We got super excited every time we heard like another person passed their permit test and they're going on to get their behind the wheel. And I think it was just last week that Dr. Leon told me about someone who we've been working with and they passed the driver's test. And then we have people from the partner organizations like Karen who are going to the DMV with people and helping them and advocating there. So it's just been super fun to see. And in our class, I think something that really ties it in is this concept, this framework that we learned about legal violence. And it talks about how violence isn't just like physical violence, but emotional violence. And it's something that happens at the daily level and it's in our institutions. And that's the legal aspect of it. So for these people, every time that they get in the car, and if you don't have a license and you're undocumented, it's a risk, deportation could be a possible outcome. In class, we learned about how sometimes traffic stops are some of the highest reasons why a person could face deportation. So people who are driving without a license, it is a real risk. And that's part of the struggle, that aspect of legal violence. And also it's embedded into sort of our systems that police can stop and do those traffic stops that leads to deportation. And even the DMV, as the DMV institution, like, yes, they have the AB60 law, but there's still so many barriers that are in place that make it difficult to obtain the license. So it was really awesome to be part of this project. I highly recommend for those who are Spanish speakers out there, if you're interested in doing something a little bit different than maybe other service learning experiences that you have. So thank you very much for listening to my piece. I will now pass it on to one of our amazing partners in this project, who is Karen Brard, and she is a bilingual public defender investigator at the Marin County Public Defender's Office.
Thank you, Daniela. Hi, good morning or good afternoon, everybody. Yes, I'm here at the Public Defender's Office. I have now taken my official role as bilingual the public defender investigator. Prior to this, I was the DMV liaison, trying to help people extricate themselves from the legal criminal system because of tickets and being stuck, as Daniela said, right? I noticed that I had a caseload of approximately 600 clients. About 85% of them were monolingual Spanish speakers. And one of the things of being able to help them to get out of the system was getting their driver's license to be able to clear driving unsuspended or any other issues that came about. But we also here at the Public Defender's Office, since we are transitioning very intentionally into wraparound services, where we're trying to provide more holistic public defense for clients and community members, we really want to prevent them even entering the system. I can tell you that being Latina and an immigrant myself, providing interpreter services to my family and trying to help them access any sort of services that did exist was a traumatizing experience for everybody involved. And when you only have family members to provide that, it is really amazing to have other community partners come together. And really for this project, the students, Dominican students, service learning students were the bedrock of really carrying out this project. So as I said, it's incredibly important, and it really increases, I believe, the obviously exiting the legal system, but really just the quality of life of all these community members, of not necessarily living in fear every single time they are just trying to get out and earn a living or drive their kids to school. It's really just life-changing to be able to get their driver's license. But there are many, many challenges, from being able to get the proper documentation, a valid passport or a counselor card. We are helping them with that. This project is helping them with that step. The language barrier also, the DMV is supposed to have Spanish speaking staff there that is available. They may not be available, or they may refuse to also become available. So this is where also our students or ourselves, we step in and try to help people go through the process actively. It was really amazing as being a partner, seeing these motivated students bringing their life experience and to help these community members. We hosted those two workshops, those intake workshops. The one in June was just absolutely amazing and breathtaking to have over. We really thought we'd be lucky if we had 12 to 20 participants. Over 100 people showed up for our services. It just really shows that there is a real need for this. We had a minimum of 10 espacios de apoyos, 4 per month, 2 in the evening for people. Most people are working clients, so 2 in the evening on a Tuesday, 2 on Saturdays. And yeah, we just had people come on in and they were so thankful to be able to work with students. One gentleman, he had taken the written exam 9 times on his own and failed. he worked with us, he worked with the service learning students, and then he passed, and he came, he gave us notice that he had obtained his driver's license. It's a total success. One of the challenges, as Daniela also stated, is, people with limited literacy. So this is something that we're trying to work and trying to find partners to be able to help clients be able to gain the literacy or work around that somehow. But yeah, it has been absolutely inspiring. And yes, we want to bring in partners. We want to continue working with Dominican students, with Doctora Leon, to be able to continue this project and find ways of expanding it, because the need is just so great. And the Public Defender's Office is committed to plugging clients with other services, not just, resolving their legal issue, but also any sort of services that they may need, which may be social or mental health services, obtaining, just people are afraid to try to even apply to services. And I think that is it's a huge, huge barrier. And we collaboratively are lowering those barriers. And I'm immensely grateful to all of you to participating in this project. And I'm incredibly proud of the work that we've done, and I'm incredibly proud of all the students that participated. So thank you so much. I appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much, Karen and Dr. Leon, for sharing about AB 60. We're so happy that we have you as a partner, Karen. It was great working with you and your team. We will now hear about Next Generation Scholars. This is a project from Professor Lynn Sondag's Community Engaged Art class. And we do have a slideshow and a video. Professor Sondag could not be here with us today, but she did leave us a short excerpt, so I will read that while Jenny plays this beautiful slideshow for us. So Dominican University's Community Engaged Art class was excited to have another opportunity to work with Next Generation Scholars to collaborate on artwork for the Marin Health and Wellness campus this semester. We had a lot of good wall space to work with and make an impact. The students' projects, 8 large-scale murals and a 19 banner series, were designed to visualize health equity. The purpose of creating public art for this space was to bring people together around shared interests, elevate underrepresented voices, and illuminate community health issues and priorities. For the murals, Dominican and middle school students considered a visual response to the following prompt. How would you make sure your friends, family, and community all have the same chance to be a healthy, safe, and happy community? And she provided us with an example of one group's experience, which is this video that Jenny will play for us.
The main subject of this mural is the current busing system for some students in Somerville. We believe that all kids should have access to busing that bring them to and from school 5 days a week. Currently, this isn't the case. Some of the 7th graders share their lived experiences of having to find a ride home from school or take public buses, sometimes 2 or 3. This is hard. To address this issue with our art, we found images that represent this idea. We wanted to depict emotions such as confusion and anger, as well as hope and determination.
We learned through our 3 students, Jonathan, Eduardo, and Oscar, that busing systems through schools across Marin County are not accessible for families throughout the community. This is an issue our students brought to our attention, and they strongly believe that busing should be accessible for all students throughout the county instead of having to pay for public transportation. It was super fun to get to work with these guys and learn from their own experiences and get to execute their passion through this mural.
Get on your knees. Get down on
Are you recording?
Busing for all!
Oh, thank you, Jenny, for playing that video. Thank you to Professor Sondag and her class. It's so nice to see the students participating. We will go ahead and move on to our next group of presenters, which is from Canal Alliance Adult Education, students who worked as an ESL classroom aide. So we'll start off with our first presenter, who is Marlene.
Hi everyone, my name is Marlene Ariunbayar and I'm in my first year at Dominican majoring in nursing, and I'm currently in the honors writing and rhetoric class with my professor, Claudia Morales. As I entered this role to serve communities of different backgrounds, I kept in mind a line from author Jessica Hernandez's book that we had discussed in my honors class. Never forget that anywhere you go that is not your home, it is someone's home, and you must pay them respect and build relationships with the land and the people to be welcomed into their home. Otherwise, you are walking in their home as an unwelcome guest. We mustn't forget that taking the time to understand and respect our unique backgrounds can help us to accomplish our goals and progress towards a brighter future. When a sense of camaraderie and trust is established between communities, we are bound to limitless potential to achieve positive change. Therefore, even though we may come across unfamiliar or uncomfortable experiences when it comes to being introduced to another home, it is important to keep an open mind. The community I serve in Canal Alliance's adult education ESL class consists of Hispanic adult immigrants. As we progressed throughout the semester, I thoroughly enjoyed the activities that related what we were learning to their culture. For example, in early November, our lessons included discussions of Dia de los Muertos, a traditional holiday originating from Mexico. I have heard about this special occasion here and there, but never really got the chance to look further into it. But I had the opportunity to learn more about this holiday through hearing personal experiences from our students. The conversation took a emotional but very heartwarming turn, and I now know it to be a day of celebration as opposed to mourning, and to celebrate the passing and moving on to a brighter future. I appreciate Canal Alliance's mission to achieve their goals of empowering immigrant adults through tying together both education and cultural awareness. Committing to learning requires a serious amount of effort to balance the workload of both classes and other responsibilities as a working adult. My parents have experienced the same when they immigrated from Mongolia. However, there must be some comfort in acknowledging the other ESL learners present with similar experiences and backgrounds. Most learners reside in the Canal area, and upon engaging in dialogue with one another, they come to find resounding similarities between their lives, from visiting the farmers markets to the school districts where they drop off their children. From an early age, I gained a valuable skill set, including patience and understanding, that has appropriately translated over to my involvement in the ESL class. Therefore, when I notice a student struggling, I try my best to offer my undivided attention and support as a classroom aide. Once again, I'd like to thank Canal Alliance for their empathetic approach in their programs and initiatives, and allowing people like me to become part of this mission in helping marginalized communities lead a brighter future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marlene, for sharing about your experience. I'm so glad that you enjoyed being a classroom aide. We will now get to hear from Adriana.
Hi, everyone. My name is Adriana Cruz Diaz. My major is Literary and Intercultural Studies with a minor in Education. My service learning class was Ethnics from the Margins with Dr. Moles. When I first signed up to be an aide in the ESL classes with Canal Alliance, I assumed I knew what I needed to know about Canal Alliance. Being a former participant during my middle school and high school years led me to assume that I knew what to expect. As I attended the service learning classes each week, I realized how invested I became in the content and dynamics of the class. My weekly reflections felt repetitive at first, thinking I was not able to connect with the adult learners the same way I would during an in-person setting. However, I quickly realized that my weekly presence in the online classes was positively affecting the adult learners. In a report by Race Counts, Marin County has a housing crisis, which has intensified by the economic structural barriers facing the Latinx community of San Rafael. While the wage chart of the county shows that 87.2% of white residents make a living wage, 68.1% of Latinx workers earn significantly less. The current per capita income for a Marin Latinx community member is reported to be $36,000 a year. The Canal neighborhood's ethnic makeup is 92% Latinx and is one of the most segregated communities. That discussions with the students in the ESL program confirm that most of them are employed in lower paying jobs that are taxing to their health. The majority of the men work in construction and landscaping, while the women usually find jobs in housekeeping or janitorial. Despite these hardships the community members face, my service learning engagement with the community allowed me to witness tremendous determination, dedication, and self-motivated growth from the students. Although I relate on a personal level with Canal Alliance's mission, the cultural humility module we covered in class at the beginning of the semester reminded me to continue to being a lifelong learner, practice self-reflection, and recognize and challenge power imbalances. As a future educator and member of this community, going through service learning with Canal Alliance has empowered me to continue to recognize, analyze, and challenge racialized power dynamics and structural injustices. And I look forward to hopefully partnering with Canal Alliance in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Adriana, for sharing how you connected so well what you learned in class to your experience. We will now pass it on to Kate Ryder, who is a supervisor in the adult education program at Canal Alliance.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Daniela, and thank you, Adriana and Marlene, for your dedication this semester in working with us. You both showed just exceptional care and investment in our students' success. And as mentioned, I work in the adult education department at Canal Alliance. We've had a very fruitful partnership with the service learning program for many years, and some of those service learners have even gone on to become Canal Alliance employees. Canal Alliance is a social service organization that exists to break the generational cycle of poverty for Latino immigrants and their families. We provide a wide range of social, legal, and educational services, including immigration legal support, workforce training, behavioral health support, a food pantry, and many other services. We also provide citizenship and English classes. And in the program that I supervise, the service learners act as teachers' aides in our ESL classes, most of which are online. With just a basic level of training, the service learners lead groups of ESL students through exercises and activities in breakout rooms. Some service learners express that they are nervous at the beginning of the semester, but after a couple of sessions, we can see their skills and confidence increasing. Even though most of the service learners that work with us actually are not planning to go into the teaching profession, they still find the role very rewarding because they can see the students' progress and know that they're really making an impact. The Canal neighborhood is a densely populated area of mostly Guatemalan, Mexican, and Salvadoran immigrants. Our students are low income, have mixed legal status, and often live in multifamily housing. Some of the service learners come to us with knowledge or even personal experience of immigration. But for others, this is the first time they've had a chance to meet and learn about people who have recently immigrated to this country. In the classroom, the service learners have an opportunity to see the struggles and strengths of this community, as well as the real effects of systemic inequities on the lives of immigrants. As our semester goes on, I see the service learners becoming really invested in our students' success. They reflect on what it means for the students to be taking our classes and think about how they can help maximize the students' learning. Service learners consistently mention wanting to do their best as aides because they see the challenges our students are overcoming in order to attend the classes. For example, service learners have noted that many students work multiple jobs, have poor internet connections, and don't have a quiet place to study or connect to class, yet they still show up 4 nights a week from 8 to 10 p.m. to study English. And greater English ability can have a really significant impact on our students' lives. With better English, they can get higher paying jobs, pass their citizenship exams, help their children with schoolwork and college applications, and participate actively in the community. And this in turn supports our overall goal of breaking the cycle of poverty and allowing immigrants to pursue their dreams. It's important to highlight that Canal Alliance believes wraparound support systems are a critical element of this process. In order to have the stability to pursue English proficiency, students also need food security, mental health support, housing support, and legal assistance. So I want to really thank all the service learners who partnered with us during the fall semester as both aides and tutors. I think we had over 30. And we all look forward to an ongoing collaboration with the service learning team so that together we can continue supporting the immigrant community. Thank you so much.